Good evening, here are tonight's top stories. A fatal accident on the Soesdijk-Linden Highway has claimed the life of a 68-year-old man. An 18-month-old baby died in a car-truck collision at Britannia, West Coast Burbis. Police are investigating the fatal collision on Britannia Public Road, West Coast Burbis. The trial for alleged electoral fraud is set to begin after a 3-year delay. 2 men have been remanded over a $222,500 robbery in Georgetown. The decomposing body of a laborer was found in a quarantine house, and a pensioner was found dead in his Cummings Park home. Stay tuned for the details of these stories. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more news.
18-month-old baby dies in car truck collision at Britannia, West Coast Burbis. A tragic collision between a car and a truck this afternoon at Britannia, West Coast Burbis, Region 5 and Mahayaka Burbis, has resulted in the death of 18-month-old Daniel Myers. Daniel was a passenger in the car driven by his father when the accident occurred. He succumbed to his injuries at the Fort Wellington Hospital while receiving medical attention. The child's mother, Monica Myers, sustained minor injuries and was treated at the same hospital before being discharged. The family, including their 3-year-old son, was returning to their home in Belmont, Mahayaka from Bushlot Village at the time of the crash. Authorities have initiated an investigation into the circumstances surrounding the accident. Pensioner found dead in Cummings Park home. Norman Emmanuel Vieira, known as the Peter, was found dead in his home at Cummings Park on Thursday afternoon. Vieira, a 73-year-old pensioner, lived alone in a 2-bedroom wooden house and had no known relatives. He was a patient at the cardiology clinic of the Georgetown Public Hospital. Police headquarters reported that Vieira was last seen by a neighbor around 1900 hours HRS on Wednesday. The following afternoon, the neighbor noticed a foul odor emanating from Vieira's house while she was in her yard and decided to check on him. Upon entering the premises, the neighbor discovered Vieira lying motionless inside his house and immediately contacted the police via the 911 emergency line. Responding officers found Vieira on his bed, dressed in brown and white striped boxers. No marks of violence were observed on the body. Emergency medical technicians arrived at the scene, and a doctor pronounced Vieira dead. The body has been transported to Sandy's funeral parlor, where it awaits a post-mortem examination to determine the cause of death. Police investigations are ongoing. Decomposing body of laborer found in quarantine house. The decomposing body of a 40-year-old man was discovered on Sunday morning at a house in No. 70 Village, Quarantine Burbis, Region 6. The deceased has been identified as Dudnath Singh, a laborer from No. 68 Village, Quarantine. According to police reports, Singh's body was found around 7 o'clock HRS, and investigators believe he passed away sometime after 7 o'clock HRS on Saturday. Singh had been residing with a friend in No. 70 Village for the past 2 weeks. The friend recounted that on Saturday morning, he briefly chatted with Singh, who was lying on his bed, before leaving for work. Upon returning around 1400 hours HRS with a bottle of rum, he noted that Singh was still on the bed. Choosing not to disturb him, the friend spent time drinking alone in the yard before attending a wake around 1600 hours. The friend returned home at approximately 2000 hours HRS and went to bed without checking on Singh. The following morning, he found Singh in the same position and noticed a foul odor emanating from the room, along with what appeared to be blood on the floor. He immediately alerted the neighborhood and the police. Upon arrival, investigators found no visible marks of violence on Singh's body. While they await an autopsy to determine the exact cause of death, initial findings suggest no foul play is suspected. Investigations are ongoing. Fatal accident on Soesdijk-Linden Highway claims life of 68-year-old man. A tragic accident on Wednesday morning resulted in the death of 68-year-old Rudolph Keynes and injuries to his relative, Maxine Keynes, 66, after their car collided with a truck on the Hillfoot Access Road, Soesdijk-Linden Highway. Rudolph Keynes, a resident of Hillfoot Village, Soesdijk/Linden Highway, was driving motor car PGG 6390 with Maxine Keynes as a passenger. The accident occurred at approximately 5:15 HRS at the junction of Hillfoot Public Road and Hillfoot Access Road. According to police reports, the car was heading north along Hillfoot Access Road. It is alleged that Keynes failed to stop as he approached Hillfoot Public Road, veering into the path of motor lorry GAG 6169, driven by Yogeshvar Ramnarine, 38, of Richmond Housing Scheme Essequibo Coast. The lorry, traveling west, collided with the car, resulting in significant damage to both vehicles. Both Rudolph and Maxine Keynes sustained severe injuries and were transported to the Diamond Diagnostic Center, where Rudolph Keynes was pronounced dead on arrival. Maxine Keynes received medical attention for her injuries. A breathalyzer test conducted on the lorry driver, Yogeshvar Ramnarine, indicated no presence of alcohol. The police have lodged both vehicles at the station for examination by a licensing and certifying officer. Rudolph Keynes' body has been taken to the Memorial Gardens Funeral Home, pending a post-mortem examination. Investigations into the accident are ongoing. 2 men remanded over $222,500 robbery in Georgetown. On Tuesday, 2 men appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court facing a joint robbery charge related to an incident on May 23, 2024, at Albuquerque Street, Albuquerquetown, Georgetown. Shizad Khan, 44, a mason from Albuquerquetown, and Lion Sanchez Santi, 30, a Cuban national living near Burda Market and employed at a supermarket, were both remanded in custody. The accused appeared before Acting Chief Magistrate Sherdel Essex Marcus and pleaded not guilty to the charges. According to police reports, the men allegedly stole items totaling $222,500 from Shymak Romaine. The stolen items included a Nike bag valued at $3,000, a scientific calculator worth $10,000, a 3-piece ear set valued at $3,000, a spectacle case worth $5,000, an umbrella valued at $5,000, a Samsung cell phone valued at $80,000, a Wi-Fi external valued at $30,000, and $86,500 in cash. Prosecutor Morpha Cox objected to bail, citing the severity of the crime, the high value of the stolen goods, and the fact that both men lack a fixed place of residence. Cox also pointed out that both defendants had confessed to the robbery and admitted to splitting the stolen money. Additionally, it was revealed that Khan is currently under investigation for previous similar offenses. No items from the robbery have been recovered. Consequently, the court denied bail for both accused. They are scheduled to return to court on June 12, 2024. Police investigate fatal collision on Britannia Public Road, West Coast Burbis. Police in Regional Division 5 are investigating a fatal accident that occurred on Wednesday, May 29, 2024, at approximately 1345 HRS on the Britannia Public Road, West Coast Burbis. The crash involved a motor lorry with registration number GXX1685, which had trailer tab 3229 attached. The lorry is owned by John Fernandez Limited of Lot 24, Water Street, Georgetown, and was driven by Junior Brown, 39, of Lot 125, Cummings Street, Buxton, East Coast, Demerara. The second vehicle was a motor car with registration number PAG 5148, owned by Monique Richmond of Lot 32 Belmont, East Coast, Demerara, and driven by Kishon Mayers, 30, of the same address. The accident resulted in the death of 18-month-old Carson Mayers, who was a passenger in the car. Preliminary inquiries revealed that the motor car PAG 5148 was traveling west along the southern side of the road at a high speed. While negotiating a right turn, the driver lost control, causing the vehicle to veer onto the northern side of the road into the path of the motor lorry GXX1685, which was traveling east along the northern side. The collision occurred when the right side of the car struck the right side of the trailer, injuring the occupants seated in the right rear seat. The injured were rushed to Fort Wellington Hospital, where a doctor pronounced Carson Mayers dead on arrival. Monique Richmond was admitted for observation. Breathalyzer tests conducted on both drivers showed alcohol levels below the legal limit, with the lorry driver registering 5 micrograms and the car driver 4 micrograms of alcohol, both well below the prescribed limit of 38 micrograms. Notices of intended prosecution have been served on both drivers as investigations continue. Trial for alleged electoral fraud set to begin after 3-year delay. After a 3-year postponement, the trial for alleged electoral fraud involving former senior officials of Guyana's elections body is scheduled to commence on July 29. The proceedings will take place before City Magistrate Laron Daly, following a series of delays and a pivotal ruling by Chief Justice Roxanne George. Chief Justice George's ruling asserted that the constitutional rights of former Chief Election Officer Keith Lowenfield and his deputy Roxanne Myers to a fair trial would not be compromised by the Representation of the People Act. This act prohibits the disclosure of meetings of the Guyana Elections Commission, GECOM, clearing the way for the trial to proceed. Magistrate Daly has been authorized to hear and determine the 28 criminal charges connected to the 2020 elections. The case was presented on Wednesday at the Georgetown Magistrates Court for reports, where Special Prosecutor Darshan Ramdhani, KC, confirmed the readiness of the matter to proceed. The trial dates are set for July 29 to 31 and August 5 to 6, 2024. Key witnesses expected to testify include Minister of Local Government Sonia Parag, Head of the Diaspora Unit Rosalinda Rasool, former Region for Police Commander Edgar Thomas, and Forensic Investigator Raul Ned. The prosecution has provided certified copies of statements of poll, SOPs, and statements of recount, SORs, video interviews, and various other documents. The defense team, led by Attorney-at-Law Nigel Hughes, will represent former District 4, Demerara Mahaica Returning Officer Claremont Mingo, former Deputy Chief Elections Officer Roxanne Myers, and former Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield. Other GECOM staff facing charges include Sheffern February, Enrique Levon, Denise Bob Cummings, and Michelle Miller. They are accused of defrauding Guyanese voters by declaring false vote counts. Additionally, former People's National Congress/Reform, PNC/R, Chairperson Volda Lawrence and PNC/R activist Carol Smith Joseph are also charged in relation to the case. The defendants allegedly inflated or facilitated the inflation of results for Region 4, Guyana's largest voting district, to falsely grant the APNU plus AFC coalition a majority win. The People's Progressive Party/Civic, PPP/C, was ultimately declared the winner of the elections, leading to the swearing-in of Dr. Irfan Ali as President of Guyana. The trial is expected to shed light on the contentious events surrounding the 2020 electoral process.